So I'm here with my sister Isabella. She works with me. She edits a lot of the video, all of the videos for YouTube, does all video editing, and she wants to learn more about Adobe Audition and how to work with audio files. And I thought it was the perfect opportunity to show everyone the basics of how to work with Adobe Audition if you've never used it before. So say hi.
Hi.
Okay, so let's just jump right into it. So what we're going to do first is we're going to set up our preferences. So go up to File, or Edit rather, sorry. All the way down at the bottom, you'll see Preferences. And go click any of those. It'll open up the menu. So we'll start at the top and just go through each one to see if there's anything to set. So on General, I usually don't touch anything on here. It's like, do you want to create a circular section on the mouse down? Like just a bunch of random stuff that you don't need to touch whenever you're getting started. On Appearance, it's the same thing if you're wanting to set your colors. The automatic colors are very dark, so it's a lot easier on your eyes whenever you're sitting in front of the computer all day, or if you're in a darker studio for voiceover. On Audio Channel Mapping, the top menu is for input and the bottom is for output. And then it's also very similar to Audio Hardware, which is the next option down on the menu, where you're going to choose your input and output. So if you recognize the name of your microphone, or if you're using an audio interface like I'm using an Audient ID4, then I look for those names that I recognize, and that's how I set them. So my input line personally is Audient ID4, and my output line is Speakers Audient ID4, and you would look for something similar. So since you don't have a specific microphone, then it's just going to go with the default settings of the computer, which is perfectly fine. And then if you had a microphone, you would look for the names of your microphone and your speakers and output, right?
Right. Okay.
Okay. So autosave, there's already some default settings. I leave it at that. And it's just going to auto recover. So if the system crashes or something like that, then it'll be able to save the file and you can try and reopen it after that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to skip control surface. We're going to skip data. We're going to skip effects. Now under media and disk cache, there's a button down at the bottom that says Save Peak Files. You're going to unclick that. And we'll talk about why later. Okay, this reminds me of something. Go up to Audio Hardware, and under Latency, is yours set to 200?
Yes.
Change that to 30.
Okay.
And we'll talk about why we do that later as well. So go to Playback and Recording. This is going to be helpful, and it is entirely dependent on what your preference is. So up at the top where it says auto scroll, it's going to give you an option for whenever you're playing a track back to yourself and editing, the way that it visualizes it to you. So I have mine under centered because I like the playhead to be in the center of the track, and it'll stay in the center of the track as it's playing through the entire recording.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And enable auto scroll when starting playback or recording. That is basically like if you stop it and you edit something and then you hit start again, then it'll go back to that setting of auto scroll at the center. So some people prefer it to be whenever you start playing a track, you'll see the playhead move all the way across the screen like a typewriter, and then it'll just bounce to the front again and continue to play. So that's a preference.
So you have this centered on both?
Yeah, I have mine centered on both.
Okay.
This says waveform and multi-track. So those are just two different types of ways that you can record. For voiceover, the majority of the recordings are going to be in waveform, and then you might use multi-track if you're layering different sounds and tracks with each other. So that's why it gives you the option of both. And then just something to know about. So there's also the return playhead to start position. I leave that unchecked. When playback starts within a selected region, stop at the end of the selection. What that means is if you're editing and you highlight a portion of the script, and then you hit play, it'll stop at the end of that highlighted portion
Okay.
when this is checked. If it's not checked and you highlight a portion of the script, it'll start where you highlighted and then it'll just continue on like normal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then down at the very bottom, punch and roll. This is something that we'll talk about later. Very standard pre-roll duration is 5 seconds. I would just leave it at that.
Okay.
We're going to ignore spectral displays, time display, and video.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the basic setup. Okay, so now we're going to look at the layout of the Adobe Audition. So we're going to set it up to the way that I have it set up.
Okay.
And what you're going to do is you're going to go to Window up at the top. And these are things that you have the choice of having access to on your dashboard. So this is the area where you can set things up. All those check marks are ones that are currently on your dashboard. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, for example, do you have selection view already checked?
Yes.
If you look down at the right bottom corner of your screen, that's what your selection view is. So if this is helpful if you're trying to record a 30-second track or a 60-second track, it'll show the duration of the entire track. Or if you highlight a section of it, it'll show you the duration of the section that you highlighted. So it's helpful to keep that there.
Okay.
Is level meters checked?
Yes.
So down at the very bottom of your screen where you see that level from 0, -3, 6, -9, and over on the left-hand side of that, it says dB.
Right.
That is what's going to tell you what you're recording at, what your gain is set at. So you want to be within, like, let's say 9 and 15 decibels when you're recording raw. That's where you're going to check that before you even hit record.
Okay.
You have files checked?
Yes.
Good. Do you have effects rack check?
No.
Okay, go ahead and check that.
Okay.
Do you have media browser?
No.
Go ahead and check that. Do you have markers?
No.
Go ahead and check that. And let's take a look at where you're at. So you see it put markers, effects, and media browser in the same area.
Yes.
I keep my stuff right there. Up at the top, you have files. That's really the only thing that I use up there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the levels meter down at the bottom, and you have the one in the corner, the selection tool in the corner. Yeah?
Okay. Yes. And then I have history down here in the left.
Yeah. I don't often use that. Actually, I never use that, and I went ahead and I took that off. You can leave it there if you want. So what we can do is I'll show you how to move things around. So go up to the top. What did
Okay.
you say the option was next to files?
Next to files is favorites.
Okay, so hold that down
Okay.
and drag it away.
Just anywhere?
Yeah. Do you see that gray box that pops up?
Yes.
That allows you to drag these around your screen to choose where you want it to visually be.
Okay.
Okay. Now what we're going to do is click those 3 bars next to it.
Okay.
And that gives you options of what you want to do. So if you undock it from your panel, click, does it say unlock or undock?
Undock.
Okay, yeah. So now drag it over. Now it's acting as a separate window.
Okay. Just a free floating window?
Yeah. So these are just the basics of how to move things around on your dashboard. So if you wanted to repin this to your dashboard, bring your mouse down over in the black area of it.
Okay.
And you see how it has that teeny little box.
Yes.
When that teeny little box appears, go ahead and press and hold. And now keep holding it and drag. Yeah, now you're able to choose to repin it anywhere you want on the dashboard.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, you have any questions about that?
No.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is I will show you how to set up a music shortcut. because that's probably going to be relevant to you, and it is relevant to me. So you're going to use your media browser. So click on that section.
Okay.
And you're going to see that it gives you options of different files across your computer. So go to where you keep your Artlist music selections.
Okay. Does it matter whether I'm searching for it in this left-hand side one or this one?
I search for it under that right-hand one.
Under this section?
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is fine. I know that these are all music tracks.
Okay, so where the folder that holds those music tracks, double-click that folder to officially open it.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Now, above that, you'll see contents, and then it'll show you the name of that folder, right?
Yes.
Do you see that plus button?
Plus button.
To the right of the drop down.
Oh, okay. Mine was a little bit squeezed in, so if I dragged it out, it revealed it.
Okay, perfect. So if you click that plus button, it'll give you the option to make a shortcut for that folder.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Add shortcut for YouTube background music.
Yeah, so now whenever you are adding a music track into your file folder, you don't have to go searching through all of your folders. You can go straight to the media browser and you have a shortcut directly to that menu of files.
So let me make sure I know where that is. Okay, so here it just added the shortcut on the left-hand side.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to figure out how to create our first files. So up in the right-hand corner under files, you see a little box with a plus sign.
In the left-hand corner?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So the little box with the plus sign, we're going to add a new audio file. You have the option between multi-track, audio file, CD layout. I never use CD layout. We'll talk about multi-track sessions later, but we'll start with a new audio file.
Okay.
It'll give you the option to name that file if you want to name it. I usually ignore that and name it later when I'm exporting. I choose the sample rate at 41,000 hertz.
Do you input that manually?
No, it's an option. 44,100, I meant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a very standard voiceover recording sample rate. Then channels, keep it under mono. Stereo is is usually more applicable for music recording, but voiceovers always record in mono. And then the bit depth, I leave at 32 float.
Okay.
And then you click OK. So now this has opened up a recording track for you, and you see how you have your record button down at the bottom, the forward, back, play. You see all of that?
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and hit record, and you'll see that it'll start recording.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. So you can hit stop. Whenever if you haven't opened up a file, you can just go ahead and hit record, and it'll prompt you to start a new audio file anyways. So you can hit Control X. So Control X, just like with any other program that you're familiar with, Control X cuts things, Control C copies things, Control V pastes things, and Control Z is basically an undo button. So go ahead and open, you can open all 3 of those files that I sent you in the email that we'll practice on.